This podcast is a part of the Benview Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at BenviewNetwork.com.
This podcast often contains controversial or mature topics. You have been warned.
Welcome back to Raygun Readers, episode 2112. Earth had a good rock band named Rush. Papreeka, which is your favorite of the intergalactic rock bands?
I like the band Olma Grindrock.
Olma Grindrock?
Yeah. I don't know if there's really a good translation for a rock band in space, but this is a band that plays rocks. So that's the closest I could come and think of. Their music's really good. On the desert planets surrounding Torson Galaxy, the rocks are known for having there's a lot of hollow rocks there, a lot of geodes, and they're very brittle, so they go there and they break rocks and record it. They rub them together and then they sing over it. I find it very soothing. What about you, Abysmii?
Well, I'm glad you said that band that you said, whose name I totally remember.
Olma Grindrock.
Yes, I'm afraid I haven't heard of them, but they do sound very interesting. My favorite rock band, not from Earth, of course, probably has to be...
Oh, yeah, I heard of them. I remember that.
Everything after their sophomore album's kind of meh, but, those first two are just groundbreaking.
Yeah, and their vocals are very interesting. Very interesting species.
I mean, no one else does it like them. I've yet to see it replicated.
It kind of sucks because our ears can't pick up the entirety of the song.
Well, your ears can't.
Oh, okay, sorry. I forgot that your species is just better than mine. What are they called again?
Your words, not mine.
What are you called again?
I will not reveal my species name like that until we're on a much more intimate, personal basis. I only tell that to people very close to me.
Right, this is a strictly platonic relationship.
Absolutely. For no other reason are we in the same proximity. Well, if that's enough carousing about our musical tastes.
That's enough. That's enough conversational banter for one afternoon on a rock ridge.
Awkward.
Speaking of which, we should go play some music later.
That's a good idea. We'll break rocks, and we'll try to cover
and
that
then
one
we'll break
song.
New ground.
And we'll somehow interrupt the endless trash.
Well, we'll go down. Maybe we have to go check the resonance of these rocks. Maybe it's interesting.
Maybe we can make a sick rock drum kit. That'd be pretty cool. Welcome back, everybody. We are on our third episode of Classic Sci-Fi. We've got a short one today. This is called The Posture of Prophecy by Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough. And it
has an interesting monster that looks like a Shoggoth.
It does
framing
look like a
the
Shoggoth.
title.
That might be why
framing
I chose
the
it.
title.
This is from the Worlds of If, which 1969 issue for September.
Written by a Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough.
I already said that, but okay.
Oh, no. Okay, well then take that.
No, it's clear you don't listen to me.
The tagline
cool.
The tagline for this story is every birth helps to define the shape of things to come.
So we've got an alien on the front and something about birth. So I'm guessing someone's been impregnated. Someone's pregnant with an alien, maybe?
Pregnant?
Pregnant. I see someone's not up on the Earth memes.
What is pregnant?
That's a very good question. No one quite knows.
What? I'm sorry. I've spent too much of my life or of my current life on a rock ridge under a rock.
You've been spending it under a rock listening to rock music?
And by rock music, we mean natural sounds of the planet.
Of course. Very, very organic. Very back to roots. Not this digital nonsense we get these days. Very analog. All right. The Posture of Prophecy. Oh, negative, Quai 985. Jafar? Seriously?
You have no idea what the sentence is about, and the inflection in which you read that was just so confident.
Yeah. Okay. Jafar 296 extruded the quarter-inch pseudopod of admonition along the frozen ground. Why is it quite impossible? How could there be life there? How could it survive? Quai 985 drew himself from his flat security to an indignant 6 inches. They may have evolved differently. They could be a different life form altogether.
Well, stop reading. Stop it. There are a lot of words.
So there's 2 people with the names Qui or Quai. Oh, one of them's...
Let's go with Quai.
Yeah, one's Quai 985.
And the other one's
Jafar 296.
Jva.
And they're on some frozen planet. That's what we know so far. And they're talking about life.
Quarter-inch pseudopod of admonition.
Admonition is capitalized, so that's a title or something. That's some designation.
Maybe it's where they are.
I don't know.
Admonition along the pseudopod of admonition along the frozen ground.
In the posture of amused tolerance. So basically, this is like it's saying, this is how it's communicating.
So when it says admonition,
yeah, it's admonishing using the tone of admonishment. That's a tough word.
Pseudopod of admonition. So it looks like they have positions to express emotions.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're describing them almost like yoga.
Kind of.
But all right, let's continue.
In the posture of amused tolerance, how many life forms can there be? It has been proven sufficiently that our present form and mass are the optimum in adaptability and convenience as well as efficiency. We can alter our shape at will, adapting to all conditions.
This is very true. No, I'm joking. Okay. Even in the best of all possible forms, Jvad 296 hurried on as he noticed Quai 985 taking on the crenellations of the adversary form. How could we expect to live under the conditions of Thwith? The sky burns daily and twice as long. Being so close to the primary, there are sharp differences from light to full shadow. Okay, so primary has to be sun or star. And I don't know what the conditions of Thwith are.
So Thwith is the planet they're referencing, one that's really hot.
Okay.
Being so close to the primary, I'm guessing the primary star?
Yeah. The constant change from true brightness to the dark contrast would be dizzying. And affirmative, maddening. And as if the heat of the day were not enough, if some poor life form got caught in the shadow, which is twice as long as ours, the drop of temperature would probably kill him on the spot. Perhaps they migrate to keep in the light. After all, the planet is smaller than Damnit.
That does not signify. The mass is different. All right, but certainly they have evolved in another form. Quai 985, please negate that posture of challenge. I don't like your tone.
Step off.
Your body language is very threatening right now. What other form could possibly survive? They would have to be formless such as we. They would require 3 sexes, and we have the advantage of a planet that revolves at a civilized pace so that we are never long without light, and we are at a respectable distance from the primary.
In our studies, there has been some debate about bodies with some type of framework. Framework? Incredulity. I think they take the position of incredulity.
Yeah.
Papreeka 771 has suggested the possibility.
A twist of recognition. I think they're just doing shorthand now for the postures.
Papreeka 771 is the only colleague who is doing creative and important thinking today. Ouch.
Whoa.
All the others are lost in a tangle of academics.
At this, Jafar 296 extruded a second pseudopod and pulled himself to the full extent of righteous indignation.
And how could such a monster move? How would he keep his body from being crushed? Negative. That is the most ridiculous part of the life on Thwith nonsense.
Then how do you explain the signals that have been picked up here?
There must be many strange effects from radiation so close to the primary. I think we can safely dismiss those as random atmospheric conditions.
But there was a pattern and repetition to them.
There is pattern in your mass fluctuation. There is repetition in the paths of our moons. There is regularity in our orbit.
It's just that Qui 985 began to slide into confusion.
I wonder what that looks like.
It sounded so reasonable the way Papreeka 771 explained it.
Naturally, Jaffa 296 went on, gathering himself into maximum paternal. Papreeka 771 is a genius, but even genius can err. I commend his gift. I applaud his creative thinking. However, I leave it to those of us who have been instructed in the ways of logic to evaluate the worth of his work.
Oh, I've got to use maximum paternal somewhere. It's fantastic.
How?
Jaffa 296 assumed a pose of confidence. We are better prepared. Ours is not the privilege of genius, but the responsibility of knowledge.
And you are convinced it is not possible?
How can it be? Let us assume that pragmatic approach. The planet Thwith is only 3 from the primary, far too... Okay, they're describing Earth.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think they're describing Earth.
No, I was thinking that maybe they're just talking about humans.
I didn't want to like jump to that, but that's kind of the final nail of they must be talking about Earth. 3 from the primary star. All right. Far too close for survival. The atmosphere is a poisonous mass of nitrogen and oxygen with several other trace gases.
Well, the other thing he said on the frozen ground, so maybe they're somewhere north?
They're probably on one of the poles, yeah. Probably in Antarctica.
They're okay.
It has vast seas of liquid ice formed of an oxygen-hydrogen compound, and ambient vapors of this are always evident.
Liquid ice, so they live in a colder environment. Or a warmer? No, wait, it's got to be.
Any natives would either boil or drown.
Qui 985 was reluctant to concede the point. Must they?
Then consider the satellite. They've just got the one.
Yeah.
And that is so large that it must pull the sea around so violently that there are daily floods everywhere.
Qui 985 acquiesced. Oh, so that's why they don't see anyone, is because they're on the north or south pole.
Right.
Okay. Or take the radiation. I shudder at the moment any poor inhabitant of Thwith would have to contend with. Why? Under such bombardment, there might be a dozen different species on the planet, assuming for the moment that life could exist at all. Think of the confusion that would cause. Imagine the problem of ecology. If you find just one other life form difficult to postulate, then what do you propose for the variety that would necessarily be part of that postulate? Why is he assuming there's a variety?
I don't know.
Because there's lots of energy, maybe?
I'll admit I hadn't considered that.
There could be as many as 20 subspecies. Nature is an orderly process, as is demonstrated time and time again. There is reason for all things. How could you find reason in the chaos that 20 different Qui 985 species would cause?
Jaffa 296 propelled himself forward in emphasis. Negative reaction. I am without defense.
And Qui 985 flowed into defeat.
There. You have been given the chance to understand and have done beautifully. But such an idea, when you look at it in the cool light of reason, defies that reason. It is disciplined minds, such as mine and yours, that will turn genius, such as Papreeka 771's, into the solid fact our science demands.
So it's funny, because he's using, like, what is it? The Murphy's Law? Where the simplest explanation is usually the right one.
I thought Murphy's Law was that anything that can go wrong will.
Oh, yeah, then whatever one that one is.
Occam's razor?
The Occam's razor, yeah, I think you're right.
Well, Occam's razor is the simplest explanation. Like, it's used to cut out errata from arguments.
Right, and he's arguing here that having life on this particular planet would be way too complicated. How could it ever happen? So he's using Occam's razor.
This is kind of hard for me to suspend my disbelief on, simply because they're weird, formless, non-carbon-based organisms
that traveled and only landed on the North Pole.
Yeah, well, and like it's like, oh look, a what we would call a Class M planet. Life can't possibly exist here. Really?
Well, that's what they're saying. They're coming from a climate so different. so unlike ours that it doesn't conceive the possibility that there is life here.
But then it makes me feel like this is the first planet they've discovered other than their own. They must have seen other inhabitable
That's not what
planets.
they're saying. They're saying that it's outside of their realm of reason. Maybe they've encountered other planets that they would consider inhabitable. Not necessarily like ours, just inhabitable according to whatever criteria they define to be inhabitable, not ours. They're saying that maybe their habitable zone is different than our habitable zone.
But they're also saying, I get what the author is going for in that it's challenging the incredulity a lot of people have. Oh, life can't exist in other planets. There's nothing out there. Everything we come across is dead, and it's not Earth-like at all, blah, 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 especially because this was written back in the 60s. I get that. But you're also, like, you're using these very intelligent, advanced organisms who I would feel would be more knowledgeable than us.
Well,
it's just kind of weird to use that framework for me.
Well, it's more than that, right? He said that their smart friend said, it's possible for life to exist here, and this is how. And he says, he's very smart, our friend. It's very smart, but he's overthinking it. That's basically what he's saying.
Okay. So they're basically...
So they're having an argument, an internal argument. And this guy's saying, based on a faith in what he believes to be true. I'm walking on a dangerous territory saying it like that. But
now, are they actually on Earth then?
He's proclaiming that there's no possible way that life is on this planet.
Now, are they actually on the planet then, or are they just walking across theirs?
I think they're on the planet. I want to reread this for what their conditions are possibly like.
Yeah, because it's...
Oh, okay. No, they're not.
Yeah, so they're on their planet or some other.
In the beginning of the story, I assumed that extruded the quarter-inch pseudopod meant some sort of instrument. They're talking somewhere else.
Yeah, that's just how they act. And
okay, so whatever data they're getting about Earth, they're internalizing. They aren't actually going out and measuring anything.
Yeah,
they aren't at a pole.
Yeah, no, I think they're like two scientists who just came back from a conference.
Listen, the first freaking sentence. Jafad 296 extruded the quarter-inch pseudopod of admonition along the frozen ground. So it's not on Earth. It's on their planet, and their planet is mostly frozen.
Holy shit, I just said that.
You just said that?
Yes. It sounds like they're two scientists who just came back from a conference or a symposium, and they're saying, you know what? I think that one of them saying, I think that whole lecture's bunk. I think he's overthinking it. And the other one's saying, no, it could totally be possible.
No, but I'm also saying on top of that their environment is much colder.
Yeah, just said that.
Oh, fuck you, Crumb. God damn it.
Anyway, okay, so now that I'm sure other listeners have already like pieced that together, but we just didn't realize it.
I don't know. This is kind of thick.
Okay.
And all our listeners are stupid. All of them are just dumb.
Wow, I have that on record now and can use against you indefinitely.
In the court of this Rockridge.
So, if anyone has favorites, could probably go for Abysmii at this point.
Yeah, are you really going to
Papreeka hates our audience.
Are you really going to support our alien overlords who think they're better than us? Just,
Apparently I am, because I don't hate our underlings. I mean friends.
Anyway, back to the story. And me interrupting Abysmii. Should I denounce him, do you think?
Negative. Of course not. Why, if it weren't for him, you would never have given a moment's thought to the possibility of extra Zamlit life.
True enough, said Queen 985, looking a trifle recovered.
You see, you have learned from this experience. There's no point in behaving like 320 and his lot. They have been insisting that Tapri 771 be banned from teaching because he has caused so much upset among the young. This is a lot of social commentary in this right now.
Well, Queen 985 allowed, there has been a little trouble.
But that unrest has turned many of you to deeper study than my generation has ever attempted.
In the posture of embarrassed acceptance of praise. Wow, that's a complicated posture.
Mm-hmm.
Think of how complicated this monster is moving.
This is reminding me of Arrival a little bit. Because how the aliens are telling entire sentences and statements and everything in just a simple circle in like one sentence. Like it's not exactly the same, but it feels familiar.
How does that feel familiar? I don't understand.
So they express everything in body language. Like they're giving their entire tone and demeanor in just body language.
Well, we do that too.
But not as succinctly as they do. You could put your hands on your hips and that might be stern, that might be adventurous, that might be confident, that might be angry, but we don't know until you talk. And not only when you talk, but the tone you adopt.
We can tell a lot of things with body language.
You can tell a lot, but you
tell
can't...
when I'm angry at you when you look at me.
No. You can tell a lot from our body language, but you can't tell as much as from their body language. Their body language pretty much tells the entire story. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know about that. You can say that. I think that might also be what the author is going for, but I don't get that impression overall.
Okay. Freak.
It's Papreeka.
It's Papreeka.
In the posture of embarrassed acceptance of praise, Queen 985 asks cautiously, "Do you think the 320 will succeed?"
It's PGFD, by the way. I don't see how you say that without sounding
Pig
silly.
fuckered down. Sorry, I didn't say that. Continue.
I doubt it, Jaffa 296 assumed contemplation and wisdom. As long as I am in charge of teaching the young on this planet, nothing can go wrong. Wow, that's overly confident.
Queen 985 adjusted his ocular stalks and gazed rapturously at the horizon.
Even from an aesthetic point of view, how could they live without the beauty of our rings? Think how dull their sky must be with just one moon. Even if anything could live there.
It is kind of dull if you think about it.
Even if anything could live there, it would have to be a dull, soulless thing. Obviously, nothing there could have intelligence or art.
Whoa. Them's fighting words. I'm taking the posture of aggressive action.
These motherfuckers have never heard Devin Townsend. So,
or Rush, apparently.
Or Rush, or any of the other great Canadian rock bands.
Now you're thinking. You are intelligently considering things that Tapri 771 has overlooked in his enthusiasm.
Yet you must admit that his speculations are interesting.
Jaffa 296 jerked happily into indulgent humor, continuing. They're obviously fascinating, but such ideas belong to that cult of Jamli, who espoused the idea of interplanetary travel.
Heretics!
Who would ever want to travel between planets, right?
I confess, Queen 985 admitted cautiously, that I have read some of their scrivings. Not recently, he amended hastily.
Not recently. They don't color my opinion right now.
A while ago, when everyone was reading them.
Back in school when I had to.
It was comparative literature class. At the book burning.
Right before the book. Well, we all did in our youth, I suppose. Even I did.
We all read the Communist Manifesto in our youth.
We all read Mein Kampf once, I mean,
I haven't. You hear that, everybody? She even read Mein Kampf.
Wait.
So, Abysmii for favorite of the podcast. Papreeka is Space Hitler and hates all of...
Oh my god, let me read. I'm a Space Hitler now?
Oh, you hate all of our audience, so yeah, Space Hitler.
Hopefully the rocks on this planet aren't people, because then they might think I'm Space Hitler. Well, we all did in our youth, I suppose. Even I did. The scrivings were not nearly so sophisticated then, but still. In all, delightful entertainment for the immature minds. Wait, who wrote the scrivings? Was it Jamli or was it
Jamli, I think, is their people.
No, I don't think. I think it's a group of their people. Maybe it's a political group.
I don't know. I think Jamli is their people. The possibility of extra Jamlit life. I think Jamli is their people.
Okay.
And I'm guessing people like to whatever. I don't know if it was him, but it was.
That's the guy that wants to burn to pre 771. Wants to burn him at the stake for being a witch.
Okay, so it's people like Tapri. I don't know if Tapri wrote them, but people like Tapri.
No, they liked Pughafuda.
What?
They like Pugavda.
So why would Pugavda, who wants to burn T'Pri, be the one who wrote the stuff that T'Pri is espousing?
Oh, wait.
These names are bullshit. It's very confusing. Anyway, keep reading.
But I'm confused now. Oh, T'Pri wrote a bunch of stuff that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all agreeing to having read it once, back when they were children.
We all listen to Blink-182 at some point. Even though I still do.
Jaffa 296 adjusted his body to allow the forming of a small dent of nostalgia.
Aww. I want to make a small dent of nostalgia.
Kui 985 adjusted himself to acknowledgement.
They probably prompted me to consider a scientific career. They certainly increased my curiosity.
The older Jaffa 296 rumbled. For that matter, those foolish scribings got me started.
But I'm beginning to realize how impossible it all is.
That, my dear Queen 985, is the trouble with growing up.
They rubbed nostalgia dents and hummed in the companionship that a commonly misspent youth imparts.
It is perhaps fortunate that at the time of Jaffa 296's logical triumph, Earth launched its first manned Saturn probe, which would make Jaffa 296 eat his words, even if he had to form teeth to do it.
The day was a glorious one for Earth. The 30-month probe was the first joint United States-Soviet Union project. The ship was crewed by one person from each of the 2 participating countries.
As they passed beyond Mars, the captain, a 33-year-old Marine test pilot from Boulder, Colorado, turned to his navigator crew. A stunning brunette from Kazan with the command of English, only slightly less dazzling. Ugh, that her smile. God, fucking damn it. Why can't a woman just be an astronaut?
I know.
She doesn't, she's prettier than she speaks English. That's what this sentence says. I don't care. Anyways, continue, Abysmii.
Can we assume that the Marine is ugly and has a poor grasp of English?
Well, then what's worth knowing about him at all?
He's a good pilot. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I'm really sick of, like, here's astronaut and qualifications. Here's woman, also happens to be astronaut, has fabulous hair.
To be fair, I premised reading the old classic sci-fi with there's going to be a whole bunch of shit in it.
Yeah.
So I can't say anything.
Well, and keep in mind,
it's just a twitch at this point.
Well, this is written by a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is written by, I wonder, you know what? Quick tangent. I wonder if, like, the editor made her put that in there, or if that was her own choice.
No, yeah, it was her own choice. She wrote it because that's what she thought would
sell.
No, that's her fantasy. This is this lady's fantasy.
Maybe. We have no idea. Interesting thought experiment. You're what? He asked. I'm pregnant. Oh, for fuck's sake!
They let him pregnant.
Chelsea! I gave you the benefit of the doubt! Dude!
Are you sure?
She nodded triumphantly.
Triumphantly. On a mission to beyond fucking Saturn.
Oh.
30-month probe. She's excited about being pregnant.
Yeah, I hope there's a doctor on board.
There probably is.
There isn't. It's manned by 2 people.
Wait, really?
Crewed by one person from each of the 2 participating countries.
Oh my god.
So much for those fusty old men back on Earth who said it couldn't be done. We've been in space for 3 months and I'm going to have a baby.
They probably said it couldn't be done for a reason.
No, we said shouldn't be done, you idiots. Don't have a fucking baby in space.
Oh man.
There's no doctor. There's not enough supplies.
Oh, and you can't send a man and woman in space together without them fucking. You just can't do it.
Ugh. Damn it, Chelsea. and not the cool Chelsea I know who's an artist.
Oh god, Jesus Christ.
Author of the story.
Quite a bit later, extracting themselves from a complicated free-fall embrace. I think they're describing sex. He asked her what, according to her feminine intuition, she thought the baby was going to be.
Oh, I don't care, she said, turning lazily in his arms, so long as it's healthy.
Okay. As far as it went, she was to get her wish. But it was perhaps an unlucky accurate word. just 2 months out from Earth when it was little more than a few dividing cells. A random submicroscopic particle was blundering through the mother's body and had subtly altered the order of its incipient skeletal structure.
Oh my god, it's going to become a xenomorph.
Fortunately, the radiation bombarding the ship's fragile hull had played havoc with her blood, or she would never have been able to nurse it.
Even Queen 985 would have been outraged with the proud father's comment a few months later as he admired his wife's swollen abdomen.
What does that mean? What does that paragraph mean?
Let's just finish this out.
There's no life on Saturn now, but we're sure as hell gonna start some.
His tone would have been considerably more apprehensive if he could have foreseen the quasi-tentacled 20-pound mass of amorphous flesh he was about to cut from her dying body as they crossed Jupiter's orbit.
Oh boy. For Jaffa 296 was correct about Thwithian life in one particular. Unprotected from radiation by Earth's atmosphere, unhampered by gravity, the child, or whatever it was in her womb, lived.
And grew. Okay, well that was a rush of emotions.
I'm sorry about this rough reading, you guys. This is a rough story to try and...
One of the reasons why I chose a short one, because these ones are always longer to read.
Sometimes these sci-fi stories, you just need to sit and read a couple times, and we don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose whatever, never mind.
Okay, well, overall impressions, I like the story, except for the end. Not the end, but right before the end. It's like, did they have to be just two people on a ship that had to fuck? Couldn't it be a colony ship? Couldn't it have been anything?
What about, okay, so I get the whole, like, aliens talking about Earth in a comparison where we might talk about Saturn being uninhabitable.
Sure.
But what does the baby add to the story, really?
Now that I have no idea. Like, why is it... What was the author trying to say with that? Is it a warning? Is it a morality play? Is it just amusing?
It's probably just amusing.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
But I thought the moral of the story was like, it's if, there's people who think life on other planets is ridiculous, and that is in and of itself ridiculous. But then they threw in this whole thing about, and then the baby mutated into a Cthulhu thing. Yeah. And why?
And
I just don't understand why.
Well, in this part where even Queen 985 would have been outraged with the proud father's comment a few months later as he admired his wife's swollen abdomen.
I think that's saying that Kui is more open-minded, and clearly the father's going to go, oh my god, what the fuck is that? It's hideous and horrible, and he says, humans being closed-minded. I think that's what that means. But that would be very understandable. Like, if Kui gave birth to a human, they'd probably be like, what the hell? So, yeah, the end of the story kind of, not really shit the bed, just got me really confused. Yeah. I don't understand what Chelsea is going for here. Whew.
And so, the radiation caused him to have a baby that's more like the aliens on Saturn?
There's some sub-microscopic particle and radiation mutated for the mother and the child.
Right, but why did it mutate in a way similar to the Saturn aliens? That's my question.
Is the author postulating that radiation is special to Saturn and that's what influenced life? I don't know.
Possibly. So if Saturn people came to Earth and had a baby, it would be an Earth baby?
We will never know. Unless Chelsea talked with us tomorrow, we will never know. I have no idea. Like, I'm trying to come up with more analysis for this story. The fact that it is enjoyable. I liked the parallels drawn. I liked how the aliens were described and how they do things with postures. I thought that was very cool. This ending, dude, just threw me for a loop, though. Like, I don't know what to make of it. Yeah. You have anything else to say on this?
There's assumption. Okay, so what's interesting here is they sent the first manned probe to Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people on the probe apparently are going to stay on Saturn because they're sure as hell gonna start some life there.
Yeah, that's
weird. Why would you
only send 2 people?
Why would you only send 2 people to do that? And I guess maybe that was the point of sending a man and a woman.
But was it? Because they're saying,
Because
they didn't think it could be done. Well, then why would they bother trying?
Yeah, you're right.
So this sounds like a recon mission, but again, you would just do a probe for that.
Why would you? There's a couple statements here that just don't make sense to me, and those 2 paragraphs near the end are kind of standing out.
It really feels like we had a totally different author in this story.
In this little second, second section.
Subsection, yeah. It feels like the editor stepped in and wrote their own ending, which I know is a thing they used to do a lot of.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like they would, for a lot of up and coming authors, they would have them sign away their rights to edit the story heavily. So that's why I said it. And then they would just
change the ending?
Well, that's why I said it, but I was kind of half joking. But now that we're talking about it, yeah, it sounds like they made this a huge cliffhanger, oh my god, aliens in space thing. Whereas before it was just this interesting, social commentary sci-fi story.
It does seem to be written in a completely different fashion. At first I dismissed this because it seemed like it was humans' perspective, but now it seems to switch between Earth and Saturn, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, it's a complete tonal shift. And if that's true, Chelsea, I am sorry they did that to your story, because it's bullshit.
Well, like in the beginning, they're describing one moment, right? They're describing a part of a larger story that is, their political discussion of life on Earth. And then they move to another story that has to explain everything. And in doing so just causes us to ask more questions.
Yeah, and it just brought down the quality of everything. It's really unfortunate. I don't know. Everyone leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this was an editor stepping in?
This is a confusing one. Tell them where to access the story if they want to read it themselves.
It's on the internetarchive.org. I post links to all the stories in video descriptions, so you can read it there. Please, it's very short.
The other thing is, if they were going to go so far as to send a probe to Saturn, I'd be more interested in the people on the probe meeting the people on Saturn than them fucking and having a baby together. That's a monster. Yeah, it really does feel like... Just an aside. It just feels like the story changed entirely in that last section. It's just very weird. Those 2 moments would be like the moment of them discussing life on Earth and having the inability to comprehend it, and then a second moment of them actually meeting life on Earth. I would find that very interesting. Well, not to mention, if we took the ending out of this story, it would be perfectly intact. It'd be fine. Yeah, you're right. We don't need that. It didn't explain anything we didn't already know. And if they had to put it in and be like, oh, by the way, they're talking about Earth, dude, let people figure that out. Wait for letters to the editor. Let the authors say that. Why was this put in? I don't get it. Whatever, we're talking in circles. Thank you everybody for joining us again. I'm gonna go ponder this. I need to go outside and play some music. Yeah, I see a boulder over there that makes for some awesome fucking riffs right now. Yeah, let's go check to see how that sounds. Bye. Bye. And all our listeners are stupid. All of them are just dumb.
I'm Andrew from Nothing New, a remake podcast, and this is my hetero life mate, Justin.
What up, Andrew, and what up, world? Nothing New is a remake podcast, plain and simple.
Our mission statement is bringing film buffs together to talk cinema. So we pick a remake or reboot that we all watch and discuss it at length.
Then we talk about the original film.
I love movies!
Me too, buddy. Check us out on BenviewNetwork.com or on iTunes.
Nothing New, a remake podcast.